When the teaching has found its way from the teachers down to us humans, there must also exist a path going from us up to the teachers. Has anyone already visited Shambhala? Only in very rare cases were highly advanced humans allowed to visit Shambhala in the physical body. For example, in addition to Helena Blavatsky and Helena and Nicholas Roerich. Apollonius of Tyana and Paracelsus. They received training there, higher knowledge and orders to be carried out after their return among the people. History knows a number of outstanding persons whose destiny it was to play an important role in the advancement of human evolution, who had previously visited this stronghold of great knowledge. Thus Paracelsus spent a certain period of time in one of the ashrams of the Trans-Himalayan stronghold, obtaining great knowledge. However, this applies to no more than 1 or 2 people, not per day, not per year, but per century. The Himalayan Mahatmas live in complete solitude and admit into their stronghold 1 or at the most 2 candidates in a century. No unbidden person will ever be able to locate, let alone to enter this place. How, then, to find the way to our laboratories? Without a summons, no one will reach us. Without a guide, no one will pass. At the same time, there is necessary an indomitable personal striving and readiness for the hardships of the way. According to custom, the wayfarer must traverse a certain portion of the way alone. Just before arrival, even those who have been in direct communication with us do not sense our tidings. Didn't even the Nazis launch an expedition to find Shambhala? How can this be prevented, given today's technical possibilities? With our knowledge, we can guard the center against unbidden guests. The teaching lists up as an example only a few protecting measures. Urusvati knows the Tower of Chung and remembers how its exterior resembles a natural cliff. It is not difficult to prevent access to this tower. A small landslide can conceal the structure from those below. A small dam can change a mountain stream into a lake, and in time of dire need, the entire district can be immediately transformed. People may smile, thinking that organized expeditions could sooner or later penetrate into all the passes. But even before the physical transformation of the area, the power of thought would already have diverted the caravan. In addition, chemical effects can be utilized to prevent the approach of the curious. Thus do we guard the Brotherhood. Even the most advanced aircraft cannot discover our abode. Hermits living in nearby caves are watchful guards. One should not doubt the existence of an inviolable abode. You have already heard from reliable travelers how guides refuse to lead them in certain directions. They would rather let themselves be killed than to lead you forward. But if a reckless traveler nevertheless goes forward, a mountain landslide begins to rumble before him. If the traveler surmounts this obstacle, then a shower of stones will carry him away. Furthermore, it is not our task at all to visit this high place without being called. The ignorant and impostors every now and then try to physically make their way to Shambhala. This is a big mistake. It is not by going to Ladakh that one shall find us. The right path is: let us approach the brotherhood in spirit by imitating the ideal of their way of life. The ascent to the heights of Tibet takes place on the spiritual level. Many strive to find us, but it is right to hold back these travelers. We must be found not geographically, but first of all in spirit. It is said, the kingdom of God is taken by force, but by force of the spirit, and not by fists. Only through a spiritual approach can one come closer to hierarchy. The way to Shambhala is the spiritual path. People are drawn toward the brotherhood by their feelings and bodily, but primarily in the spirit, and only in the spirit, in the heart, lies the true path. It is immeasurably encouraging to know our abode. Even those who do not know the exact location of the abode can turn in its direction, and this direction is given by the striving thought. What does that mean specifically? Is it possible that people believe they will attain the community of Shambhala through invasion or through fasting? To him who is aware of the path to us, let us say, walk by the path of love, walk by the path of labor, walk by the path of the shield of faith. To him who has found our image in his heart, we shall say, walk by the way of the heart, and the chalice will affirm the path. Which path is the most affirmed one on the way to us? The most unfailing way is the path of self-sacrificing achievement. A lot of trials are required for you to prove your suitability to be admitted. A man or woman who persists in being true to the higher self, who cannot be deceived by the specious tales of others. That one takes his or her place with the initiates of the White Lodge when his trial is over, as surely as tomorrow's sun will rise in the east. It needs a particularly high degree of spirituality, of feariness, to be able to live in such a holy place. To Shambhala, to this heaven on earth, nobody can be admitted, and nobody would feel comfortable there either, who by his inner nature, his level of development, his position on the ladder of the hierarchy, has not yet risen high enough. As long as the vibration of your being is low, you would only disturb the high vibration of Shambhala, and you could not endure it either. I must say that I have not yet met anybody who, after learning something about the Great White Brotherhood, has not attempted the search for it. But rarely, almost never, does one question himself as to whether he is ready spiritually and physically to endure that tension. Can his physical shell stand the awful tension of the atmosphere that surrounds this stronghold? Only he can approach it who, here on earth, amidst the struggles and surmounting all possible difficulties, has overcome all habits and attachments, and in self-sacrificing achievement has fierily transmuted his energies. Without going through the earthly purgatory, it is impossible to enter paradise. The fires of the higher energies would burn the overloaded aura. Elisabeth Heich vividly describes her path to the order in her book Initiation. A true disciple, following the example of Helena Röhrig, will strive to build up a spiritual connection to the hierarchy. There comes a period in the life of every human being when, in some incarnation, he consciously chooses either the right or the left-hand paths of development. A time when he chooses between a life of active self-conscious effort to reach the heights of development and a passive drifting with the tides of experience. If he chooses the former, he bares his breast to the storms of life and pushes on through every obstacle with his eyes fixed on the heights. He develops every part of his nature. He comes into contact with the great souls on all the other planes of life and humbly asks their guidance and obeys their instructions. Then physical closeness is not required at all. Some will bemoan the need to physically leave the vicinity of our towers. They forget that spiritual contact is indestructible and that distance has no meaning. Spiritual kinship, equal level of consciousness, tireless striving for growth and service to the common good, connects souls beyond the borders of matter, time and space much closer and more securely than physical proximity. Brotherhood can be realized only in unity of consciousnesses. Affinity is evidenced as the consequence of cooperation. We call to such cooperation, which binds forever. The right, the natural, but also the hard way to Shambhala is: first, you yourself have to grow. You must have made quite some progress on the way to a great soul if you wish to be received into a community of Mahatmas, be it only as a disciple on trial. Therefore, enter the path of self-improvement, the path to God. It will also lead you to Shambhala. Second, take up a position and a task in the world government. Work in your place for the progress of evolution. If you execute what you are told to do to the satisfaction of the masters, you will move up in the hierarchy over time, step by step, from one rung of the ladder to the next, from a lower position to a higher one, until the top of the pyramid comes within your reach. On the way to us, one may reach the goal only through the hierarchy.